morning, guys. Rick Shaw here on 21st of March 2022, and we've got some pretty beautiful clouds out today. Look at this. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Right now, from what I'm seeing, talking to the Filipinos, this is actually they had the start of their summer here a while back, and it seemed like right on cue. It seemed like right on cue that it got hot. I mean, right now in this sun, you can really feel it cooking you. You know, it's you wouldn't want to stay out in it too long. And you'll see a lot of these workers around here. They're all wearing long sleeves now. They weren't before. You know, because it'll scorch you. Now, we've been lucky with some of the clouds. They'll come over and it'll cool down. And we do have a heck of a nice breeze. I don't know if you can see that on the tree there. We got a really good breeze going here. So that's really taming the heat some. But we're talking about firing up the air conditioner before we go to bed at night, because last night I actually got kind of sweaty. Even with the fan blowing on me, I was sweaty, and that's the first. We haven't been here in these months. This is the first, because we didn't come here till May. So March and April, that's what some of the neighbors are saying is the hottest months here. So I think I'm going to fire it up tonight. We'll get the fired up for the kids' room and all that. See if we can cool her down a little bit better. I don't think we need it all the time. This is actually, last night was the first night I felt I should have went and turned it on. But that's the way she goes. My wife's planning a trip. We're going to get her one brother to stop. There's a big store out close to him, and get him to buy us a bigger tent. Our tent that we have, that we used before when we camped out on the beach was it was just big enough then, and of course the kids have been using it as a playhouse and stuff. So we need to get a little bit of a bigger tent, and we're going to go down it's kind of like the same place we went before. They had a really good market on the weekend. The market's only there on the weekend. They just put up all these tents. Howdy. And they put these tents up. Come on. And they put the tents up. And we got some pretty nice stuff there for good prices. Plus, we brought back a bunch of fish. It's a huge. They had a huge dried fish thing, and we brought fish that lasted us for months. My wife's real careful about how she picks it, and we brought back almost a 5-gallon bucket full of dried fish, because I love that stuff in the morning. I'd rather have that than bacon or anything, any other kind of meat. I like that dried fish that they have here. Some of them are better than others, but I forget the one that I forget the names of a lot of this stuff, and it's a real bummer. But so we're gonna be spending next month 4 days there. We're gonna leave early on a Thursday, and the last time we were there, I got a lot of pictures, but I didn't have the camera then, so I'll bring the camera with us. And the last time we were there, we stayed on the beach. We stayed there for, I think it was 3 nights, and we just pitched the tent up on the beach. We went down and talked to the Baron guy and the police. Would it be cool if we do it? And yeah, sure, just don't leave any garbage around. And we were like, okay. And then we used you walk down this one little thing from the beach, and there was like a circular area where the people all got their water, and there was like a community bathroom. You just bathed out in the open, but they had toilets there and stuff like that, so we were able to use that. And we did see, when we were there last time, a house was for sale, and we also we're going to check again. We hear it's still for sale, but we want to check again and see if it's still for sale. And that might be a nice place to pick up, because it wasn't too much money, and I'm thinking it might even drop more now, because people aren't spending the money like they were before for housing. So it might have gone down. I don't know, but I thought that was a really nice beach, and we liked it there. It's not no big fancy place or anything like that. But we had a pretty good time when we were there. We liked the people in the town, They actually had some bigwig had a party and invited us. Didn't know it, don't know me. Plus our friend, she's got family there, and this one fella has a welding shop, and we went over there and had dinner with them. Real nice guy. I've been in contact with him ever since. Ever since we first went down there, I still talk to him on the messenger and stuff like that. Nice fella. But look how they're doing all these houses, guys. They're really moving along now. See how close they are in the back there? Yeah, they don't give you much room on these houses. But they got those ones down there. Pretty soon this is going to be a big busy neighborhood. That we had that nice party where we went to the blessing of the house. And that was kind of cool the other day. Nice people. Very, very nice people.
So hot.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, those guys, it's definitely hot today. So we're me, I don't mind this. I kind of like this. I like the heat, especially when you got a little bit of a breeze going on. I don't mind it, but I know these guys working it. It's pretty rough. I used to help a guy when I was in California. He would do roofs. He would get garage roofs or smaller houses, and he would get one every weekend. And he'd say, "You come out and help me. I'll give you $500 a day." And I'm like, $500 a day? And what was really funny about it was he would put these ridiculous bids on these garages or small houses to do the roof. And the people would take them. We did a garage one time. It was a pretty big garage. It was like a 4-car garage. Two in this way and 2 in that way. And it had a regular peaked roof and all that. And he said, "We got to get this done this weekend." And he says, "Look, I'll give you $1,000 to come help me." I'm like, "Cool, I'll take it. Tax-free money." And we went and worked on that in the heat. And he was really crying out. And not me. I was able to work in it real good. Just drank a lot of water. And howdy. And he said he charged him $5,000 for that roof. And the materials, there wasn't that much in materials with the shingles. It wasn't like he was putting on the best shingles. And he would offer them the different shingles, but they would pick, and that would just go on to his price if they picked the better shingle. But we were doing them, and it seems like people always want them done in the summer, what they call the summer out in California. To me, it seemed like it was summer year round, but it never bothered me. The heat like that never bothered me. I used to do some underground when we do stuff out in the desert, and the guys would be frying out. They'd be making these big tents to try to work, and not me. I just got out. Sun doesn't seem to bother me like it does other people. And I'm not one to smear that sunblock and all this. I don't believe the sun's the killer that they say it is. I think the lack of sun is where you run into trouble. Myself, when we were kids, we played out in the sun all day in shorts and tongs, or barefoot. And we got dark as could be in the summertime. Man, we would get dark, but I don't remember any of us in the family that burnt. We never got sunburn or anything. And here I just keep getting darker. The only time I ever have a problem, sometimes my nose will get a little bit itchy, and I do peel. I get my skin it'll start coming off like a snake. And but no big deal. It's not like it hurts or anything. But I just tan. I don't burn. Some people, I guess, they do got to watch out. I had a buddy up in California. He was from Ireland, and it was can't remember that place, but it's where they had all the problems up Northern Ireland. Started with a D. I can't remember the town, but he lived outside of that in another town, Omagh. And that guy, he used to hide from the sun, and I was out at his place on a weekend, and he's barbecuing and all this stuff, and he was in the sun a pretty good bit of that day, and the next day, I'm not kidding you, the guy was crippled. He was basically crippled up, and was off work. I mean, the poor guy just burnt. He was drinking, so he wasn't paying attention, and barbecuing steaks and hamburgers and chicken and all this stuff out in the sun. And man, I never seen anybody And now I know why that guy, he's got to stay out of the sun or just take little bits at a time. But that fella burnt really bad. Here, you come here to this country, be careful of the sun. Some people just can't take it like I can. You know, I've seen plenty of guys come here, and I'm not kidding you, they get to hurting. You know, and it doesn't take much. You know, for some folks, it doesn't take much sun at all. We saw a guy up at when we lived in Carmona. Actually, when we were in GMA, we used to see this American guy all the time, and about a little older than me, maybe about my age, a little bit older. And he had a Filipino wife, and we'd see him in the Walter Mart different times, and. You know, all of a sudden we weren't seeing him. It seemed like every time we went up there, we'd see him. Every other time, stuff like that. We'd always say hi to him. Real nice fellow, big fella, real nice Filipino wife. My wife would talk to her. I talked to him for a while. We had dinner, you know, a couple times. Never went to his house. Never came to mine. But every time we'd see him there, we'd stop and get some Inacel or something like that. And this fella, one time didn't see him, and I was up there. And I saw his wife. Oh, what happened to him? You know, I haven't seen him. Is he okay? And she said, oh, he got sunstroke. Wow. I was like, really? But he was a light-skinned guy from New York. And I don't know if he's still here or not. Don't know anything about it anymore because we're not there. But yeah, doesn't sound good. You know, having a stroke's bad, but adding the sun on the front of it, I think that's not going to be too good. But I've been lucky. Make sure when you're here you get plenty of water, you know, because you can dehydrate real quick. I actually dehydrated here when I first got here. It's funny, but you just don't seem to get thirsty, so you're not drinking enough. And I actually got dehydrated. Went into my wife's doctor. She looked at me and she said, "Man, you're not looking so good." And she actually put me in and put me on bags of saline to get me caught back up. And then it was like, now I get up in the morning, I drink like a quart of water as soon as I wake up. And then through the day, I have a real big, it's 1,000 milliliter cup. And I'll fill that up and I'll just drain that, you know, 3-4 times a day over the course of the day. And I don't seem to have too much trouble. And these kids too, I make sure they get lots of water. You know, I'm constantly, hey, drink some water. Now they're pretty much doing it on their own. I don't have to pester them so much. And but they go after the water, and you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful here because the summer is here. And I know there are some people coming in. I talked to a couple of you guys from that I know through the channel that you'll be coming in on certain dates. You know, one guy's coming in on the 24th, he said. Another guy's coming in April. I hope you don't have any trouble getting in. Somebody ranked on me about about Jennifer Terry's channel. Oh, you should watch it before you. No, that was the point. That was my point, buddy. You know, I started watching it immediately. She started saying changes. You know, I just turned it off. I'm just sick and tired of, you know, this country. It's constant change. Somebody's got to do something and change things all the time. So you never know what the heck's going on. You know, now we've got a plan to go to down to the beach down south of here. So far the plan's good if it stays on this level 1. If it goes to level 2, we got to cancel. And is it going to go to level 2? Who knows? And they could do that just like that. You could plan this big trip and, you know, get everything all set up, and then that morning you'll find out at 10 o'clock, oh, we've changed it to level 2, and they won't let us through. So, you know, it's just crazy how, you know, I just get tired of all the changes. I wish they'd just make them all go away and just be done with this baloney. I really don't hear of anybody sick. They're still using PCR. Of course, they're doing antigen tests too and all this kind of stuff. I don't know how that test works myself, but I know the PCR, all you read about is that it's phony baloney. You know, you can have a cold and it'll show up positive. And I just remember when this whole thing started, we lived in a closed thing, and they had us closed off. You weren't allowed to go out, face shield, mask, and they were harassing the hell out of you. And we had 6 people in there, and you know something? They didn't even know they were sick. You know, they were quarantined in their house. They weren't allowed to leave, and I was walking by and talking to them. You know, the one lady that was the nurse, she stayed like inside the house, but a bunch of them were coming out in their area like this. If you guys watch the channel, you remember how those houses were, and come out and talk to them. You know, I had one guy. This is how people get me. How it just gets me. The one guy, he's standing in behind his fence, and he's got no mask on because he's inside of his little garage area, and he's hollering at me, "Why don't you have a mask on?" And I said, "Well, why don't you have one?" He says, "I'm in my house." And I says, "Well, how are you protected in your house? I'm right here, and you're right there. So that's that gate right there is protecting you." You know, I just don't get how the people fell into, you know, they fell into this malarkey. You know, that they just put all over the whole world. It just went to prove that, you know, how malleable the people are. You know, and I think this was a trial run for something that's going to be bigger down the road, and it's kind of scary. It really blows. I don't like what's going on. You know, we all pray that it'll get better and this will go away, but it can go the other way too. You know, I see all this baloney on. You know, they're saying this Sargassara is going to start up and all these things, but there are stuff people are seeing that a lot of banks are shut down. Bunches of them. Mine's not. You know, it hasn't sent me any notice. I get notifications on my phone for that one all the time, and plus I check it. You know, because sometimes I move stuff around in accounts and stuff. So I'm in there a couple times a month, and then. But they said Social Security, for some reason, that was shut down. I don't know how that's going to affect these people who are retired here. You know, there's lots of guys here that are, you know, they're 65 and they're living off their Social Security. I don't know if that shutdowns that's going to affect those guys or not. You know, somebody was asking me, "Oh, do you get that already?" No, here's the thing, guys. The year I was born was the first year they made the move. I can't collect at 63 like some folks can. Either you collect at 63 and you get a percentage off, and then you can collect at 65. I don't fall under that. My first one that I can collect is 65, and then full is 67, because they changed it. They moved it. They moved the bar back for us guys after 60. So, you know, I got a long time to go yet before I can ever get that, you know. And I was often wondering if I should take it as soon as possible, you know, because is it going to be there? You know, right now, our dollar, which is the petrodollar, I think it's going to go away, guys. I don't think we're going to be able to keep it. They've spent too much money. It's going to be worthless. You've got countries right now, Russia and China, and even OPEC. They're making deals right now where we're not going to use the petrodollar. You know, that deal with those guys is pretty much off. So they're going to be using their own currency or a cryptocurrency to trade with. So the petrodollar's out, and that's a big chunk of money. People who don't understand how that works is they made a deal with OPEC. Every time you buy oil, let's say Germany needs a couple million gallons of oil, they have to convert their money into dollars to buy it. So, of course, the U.S. gets a cut for that. And that's why they went in after Saddam Hussein, because he stopped using the petrodollar. But what's the U.S. going to do now if China and Russia says, and OPEC, screw you, we're not using it anymore? What are we going to do, go to war with all them? We won't be able to print the money anymore, you know, because nobody's going to want to take it. It's not going to be worth anything. So how good is that war going to go? And how many people will they send off to die? These old rich men. So weird stuff going on. I hope it all ends, though. I know talking to people in the States, it's a lot better there. And it's lightened up somewhat here, but like I said before, here you just never know what they're going to do. It's like a box of chocolates. You just don't know from day to day what they're going to do. We have heard some of the areas around us have moved up to level 2. For what reason? Who knows? You know, are there any bigger numbers? I doubt it. You know, it's just according to their PCR test. So, but I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I am kind of hanging in the shade. I don't want to be in the sun too much because it's making me sweaty. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And this is Rick Show out.